good morning, and welcome back to Just Talk Live. My name is Lindor, and I am your hostess with the most for today. And I'm going to continue in my series on self-love, and this is part two. On Monday, we talked about authentic, being your authentic self. I apologize. And establishing clear boundaries and the four C's: clarity, commitment, creation, community. D, uh, daily dreaming. E, emotionally empowering yourself. And F is forgiveness and freedom. And G is for gratitude. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start with happy thoughts. And when you think about, or when I think about happy thoughts, ladies and gentlemen, I think about the progress that it has taken me to get here from the beginning when I started until right now. So understand, ladies and gentlemen, that happy thoughts are the thoughts that you have within yourself that gets you through your day or evening, your night, your afternoon, or whatever it may be. I apologize. I'm just trying to get this lighting together. And those happy thoughts, when you're talking about self-love and the things it took to get you to this place that you are in, like, how did you get here? What was the first things that you did to get you to this space and your process of self-love, self-healing, self-enjoyment, self-pleasuring, self-motivation? How did you get to this space? And those happy thoughts, for me, it's like with music. I love listening to music. And prior to me getting on today, that's just what I was listening to. So I do my morning worship, and I read my Bible thoughts for today. I go through and I make sure that I have clear capacity on what today is going to be, putting everything in order. And when I put everything in order, those happy thoughts just come. So after I had my praise and worship hour, I went and I got myself together to have breakfast. I made myself a great breakfast. And then I just said, you know what, let's go ahead and get this, second part of self-love together so that we can move forward. So happy thoughts to me are just things that make me happy, thoughts that makes me happy. Listening to music, like I said, makes me happy. And no matter what uh, uh, mode or moment I in, music can pull me out of it. So my happy feelings, my happy thoughts, my happy emotions stem from music and what it does to me. And so if I haven't already shared with you that my love language are words of affirmation and words in general. I love words. I have my favorite word ever. It's antiquated. And if you know what antiquated means old fashioned. So that's what I love. I love old fashioned things. I love old fashioned, activities, old fashioned rituals, old fashioned love. If you will, ladies and gentlemen, and understand that antiquated is my favorite word in the whole wide world. But when I look and I listen to words of songs, and these songs from back in the day, I listened to Stranger by LTD, one of my favorite go-tos in the morning for motivation. And so in the words of that song, Jeffrey Osborne, I believe, is the one that's singing it. There is something, a stranger who was caring for him in his time of need. And at the middle of the song, he goes, I don't, tonight there will be no stranger. It will be you, my love, that's going to be here with me. And it was that segment right there in this song. If you don't know it, ladies and gentlemen, hi, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Just go ahead and do me a favor and tap that screen. I appreciate you joining today. And when you get to that point in a song, you see that it changed. The stranger is no longer a stranger. It's the love that he was waiting for all along, who is now going to take care of him and his moving forward. So that part is what I like about the words. And I have the kind of television that will be like a sort of like a karaoke aspect, and the words come up. And when I see those words, I just get excited about it, because I know at the end of the song, the love that he wanted to take care of him is now taking care of him. So just think about that. That's happy thoughts for me. That's H. So the next one is is intuition. Intuition, ladies and gentlemen. And then what is it? Intuitively know about yourself, going into self-love. What is it about you that you're making your intentions known, your feelings known, your emotions known? What are you doing to get the hey knees? Thank you so much. To get that going. I can't see a thing. Okay. Thank you all for coming in. Just make sure you tap that screen to get this pushed out to others. Thank you so much. So just knowing how you feel, the feelings that you are learning for yourself and your self journey, the feelings that you are developing in your self-worth, your self-esteem, building that self-character that you had, that no longer have the desires of what other people have or the value of what other people said about you. It is now what you feel about you. So understand, ladies and gentlemen, when you begin to think about your intuition, what's on the internal aspects of you that's going to make you you, creating a safe space for you to be who you truly would like to be. And understand, ladies and gentlemen, that no one can give you this. This is what you feel on yourself. And the beauty of it, ladies and gentlemen, is that you are the creator of what it is that you feel. You are the one that dictates how this goes for yourself. And again, it's not something that someone is saying that you are. This is who you are. And now you're developing in this person that has a desire to heal from by yourself. It starts with you and it ends with you. And it's an action. Now you're pouring into your inside or your inner you. You're pouring into that person who was damaged for some. And if it don't apply, let it fly, ladies and gentlemen. For some of you, ladies and gentlemen, who have been damaged in your past experiences, which led you to this place that you are right now. Understand, ladies and gentlemen, that when you begin to fill yourself with positivity, when you begin to fill yourself with the thoughts and the feelings that's necessary for you to move forward in your journey of self-healing, this is where you create the person that you strive to be. And then striving to be a better person, ladies and gentlemen, that means that you are willing to do the work. And if you're not willing to do the work, ladies and gentlemen, that means that you will begin to, or you will stay right where you are. And that's stuck, stagnated, just in that wheel that we talked about on Monday, that wheel that keep going, that hamster wheel that keep going on and on in a circle, and nothing goes in and nothing goes out, because nothing is going on in this specific in your life that's promoting change. It's just being who you are in this space. I'm trying to get this light on. Let's see if it'll help. It probably won't, so I won't. So I'm going to turn it off. Okay. It probably won't help you in the space that you are, because you're just going to stay stuck where you are. So going to J, ladies and gentlemen, and J means joy. Joy. How many of you, ladies and gentlemen, have a moment of joy in your heart? Do you have joy in your heart? Let me just say that. When was the last time that you had some joy? For some, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a long time that you've had some joy in your life, where you can actually say that this is, I apologize because I'm just trying to get the lighting correct. I apologize. I apologize. Oh, my lighting is so off right now. Oh, it is so off. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. The more I try to help it, the worse it gets. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. The more the more I try to fix it where you guys can see me, the worse it gets. So I apologize. So just understanding what joy is for you and finding your joy in this process of self-healing. And in your process of self-healing, ladies and gentlemen, we know that joy is what you bring to your life, whether it be joy to be with your family, joy to not be with your family, for some joyous moments. Understand that this is separate from happiness, but is also used interchangeably with happiness. So joy and happiness are two different things, but you have to find what makes you joyous or joyful. Understand what that process is for yourself. Okay? And then K is know your narrative. Know your narrative of what you want your self-love and your self-care, your self-worth to be. What is about your narrative that you want to change? What about your narrative do you want to stay the same? Sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, in this process of changing and healing, the narrative that was set forth before you began your journey is where it is, and you're trying to change it for some. Now, again, I have to continuously say, if it don't apply, let it fly, because some people's narrative might be great. But then there's others that don't have a great narrative prior to the moment that you decided that you were going to make the changes in your life to heal. So what does your narrative say to you? How do you want it to be better? For some people, ladies and gentlemen, like I shared, their narrative has changed since the last time they have been in a hurtful situation, in a peaceful situation. And those things, it matter in this process of self-love, because if you don't change the narrative, then you will repeat the differences, you'll repeat the negativity, you'll repeat all of those things that got you to the space where you lost who you were. So when you begin to create this new narrative in your life for yourself, it's healing, it's healed for some, and it's ongoing. I always use the term about the Y, the ing, and ed. When you say that you are healing, that means it's ongoing. When you talk about healed, that means that there's nothing more that's going to come in, and there's nothing else that's going to go back out, because you are healed from something. And then heal with the Y again is ongoing. So when you're creating your narrative today, ladies and gentlemen, you talk about the love that you have for yourself. You talk about what it is in yourself that you want to improve, or you want for more people to be a part of, or you just want to change what people think about you. The change process happens, and we talked about that again on Monday as well. It's the change process of pre-contemplation, contemplation, action, maintenance. Understand that you know that you want to change the narrative in your life, right? That's the pre-contemplation aspect of it. But now in contemplation, I know that I want to change the narrative. So what is it that I have to do? Now you're planning. And then in the action stage of it, ladies and gentlemen, you're taking a look at all of the things that you want to do for yourself to change the narrative and to make it better for you. And then action again is putting it all together. And then maintenance stage is just maintaining whatever it is that you decide that you're going to put in your life that's going to make it different. If that means that you have to remove people out of your life, if that means that you have to put people in your life, if that means that you have to just, take some time for yourself. And that's great, ladies and gentlemen, because not everybody can sit with themselves. Not everyone can go through healing without having someone else be a part of that journey. And for some, and again, I always say this, if it don't apply, let it fly, that sometimes people need others to be a part of the healing journey so that they can say, hold them accountable for everything that's going on. That's important too, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll talk about that in another part about having an accountability partner, a person that's going to be there to say, in your plan that you wrote out, you said you're going to do A, B, C, and D, but you didn't do A, B, C, and D. You skipped from A to Z. What did you put in there? Sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't have a plan, you subject yourself to failing. I shared with you, ladies and gentlemen, on Monday about the 5 P's. Proper preparation prevents poor performance, and that's what it is. If you're in the process of self-love and self-healing, developing your self-worth and your self-value, you have to understand that there are some things that you have to incorporate, and then there are some things that you have to take out. And then when you're talking about the narrative that you want to change for you, because it doesn't matter what other people think about you. This is self-work, self-healing, self-love, self-worth. It's yourself, and you're doing the work for yourself. So that's what this process is, and changing that narrative is stop procrastinating. Do your lives at least 3 times a week if you can. Making sure that people understand that I don't do this just to do it. I do it because it's a part of my healing journey. Because if I can do it and it works for me, then why not share it with you and for someone else to get an opportunity to get the healing that's necessary for them to move forward in their lives. This is just one aspect of what I do, and it works for me. It may not work for you. Other people have other things that they do that help change their narrative, but for me, this is what I like to do. I love to learn, and I love to teach, and I love to give back, because if I hold it on to myself or all to myself, then nobody else gets it. And there's some people out there that can't afford to go, to a therapist or to counseling sessions. Do you, ladies and gentlemen, know that those advertisement for those sessions are at least $95 an hour? Now, professionally, I can do that, but for this sense, I want to do it for free because it makes more sense to me, because I have all of this information, and I don't feel that I have to let somebody buy into this. You can if you choose to, but that's not what I'm here for. I'm not here on a platform to give or make money from it. I'm not. I'm here to help someone else heal the way that I did, sharing the tools that I use. But understand, ladies and gentlemen, for me, it is all about getting it and giving it back to someone else, so that someone else can give it back to someone else, and someone else can give it back to someone else. That's each one teach one, and that's what it's about for me. Now, don't get me wrong, ladies and gentlemen, I wish, like I shared on Monday, that I could write a book and do all of those things, but that's not my plight. Mine's is just to get it out, and that's just who I am. Okay, so changing the narrative and what it is that you want for yourself. And for those ladies and gentlemen that did not catch my live on Monday, I am working from the ABCs of Self-Love by Melody Godfrey. Okay, this is where I'm taking my information from. So understand, ladies and gentlemen, the ABCs of Self-Love by Melody Godfrey. This is where I'm taking this from. So understand, I'm not just coming up with this stuff from the top of my head, which I can, but I'm not, because it's a method to my madness. And I want and I hope that, this information again is something that you all take heed to, and then use it for yourself, and then teach someone else how to get out of the spaces that they are in their life, if they're stuck, if they're changing the narrative, if they're trying to develop their self-worth, their self-health, their self-love, this journey of healing. And it's a journey. It does not happen overnight. It's a daily practice that you have to continue to do over a period of time, because you did not get the way that you are overnight. It was over a period of circumstances that happened that allowed you to be in a space where you had to change the dynamic of what was going on within you. You had to hit that rock bottom. You had to hit that space in your life that says, you know what? I can't be and stay this way. I need to change. I need to do something different. And in my personal space, that's what I had to do. After being a certain way for so long, I found myself still doing the same things. And because I am a role model to my Mimis, and those are my granddaughters, I want them to know, you don't have to stay stuck in certain situations. You don't have to be allow people to continue to say, because your hair is short, or your skin is blotchy, or your teeth are crooked, or those kind of things that define who you are. For me, I allowed those things to hold me back for many years, when I was from from birth to 37, before I was over 135 pounds. I've always been skinny up until that time. And then there was things that happened with the crooked smile and stuff like that. Those things held me back from doing things that I wanted to do. And then when it snapped for me one day, it didn't really matter. When I let go of those words, or those, my family members used to call me twigs, that haunted me for a very, very long time, because that described who I was by being skinny, twigs. And then that played with my mindset. And then when I was not at my ideal weight of 125, 130, 135, then it played with me. Then I'm exercising all the time. And then I'm restricting my diet. I'm working out and I'm doing all of these things. But for what? Because I was trying to beat myself up to get out of that mindset of being a twig. So for so long, that held me back in my life. And then after a certain age, if you are a woman of a certain age, things start to change. And that change for me happened when I started at 37. Those changes happened. I got over 135 pounds. And then it went from 135 to 145, 155, 165, 175, 185, 195. I was 3 pounds from 200. I never thought in my lifetime that I would ever be that way. And as I'm getting older, and now it's hard to get back down to a 185 or 175 or 165, which is not my goal. My intention is not to get down that low. My intention is get to a healthy weight that stabilizes me. And like I shared earlier, I'm recovering from back surgery. So if I did get down to 175 or 185, it would be better for my back. So, and I strive to do that. And not only that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to wear a pair of stilettos again. So for the past 3 to 4 years, I've been wearing shoes 2 feet, 2 inches or lower, and I want to get back to being able to have a choice to wear a 4 inch heel if I choose to. Not every day, but once in a blue moon, I would like to put on a heel and not feel pain behind it. So L, going back to our alphabets of self-healing, we're at light. And sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, when you're in a specific space in your life, you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. You can't see that you are going to get better, heal. You can't see yourself moving past your past. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining. Please just go ahead and tap that screen for me. You can't get past your past. And so when you're on this self-healing and this self-healing journey, getting past your past might look like getting past those things that held you back. Like I shared, being called twigs, that haunted me for a very long time. Having a crooked smile, having a gap because I still have a gap. Going through those changes. And as a woman of a certain age, those things come about as well. Certain things happen where I couldn't control. And that's the other thing, ladies and gentlemen, being able to control what you can control. And when you can't control it, say I can't control it. I can't control what's going on right now with my lighting. The natural lighting, I can't control that. The only thing I can do is keep pulling my shade up and down, making sure that the sun does not come in where you guys can't see me. And I feel bad because I like this lighting that's here. And this specific space that I'm filming from is different. So I'm not gonna let that stop me. I'm just gonna keep on moving forward, okay? And changing the pattern of your light, changing the aspects of you that's going to make a difference in this healing journey. Understand what your light is. My light is to love myself. Well, let me go back further. To love God, then myself, and then to love others. And in order for me to do all of those things, I had to change how I felt about me. I had to let my light shine. I had to allow myself to get through the obstacles that I was going through and then move forward. And that's the space, ladies and gentlemen, that I'm trying to share with you about changing the narrative of you and changing how you feel about what your next 30, 60, or 90 days are going to look like. Developing a plan to change. Developing what you want people to know and understand about who you are and what's changing for you. Establishing healthy boundaries. Understand, ladies and gentlemen, when you establish those healthy boundaries with people, they have to respect it. And if they don't respect it, then you know that you have to have some form of a penalty or restriction. Let me say that. If you cross the boundaries within that I've created for myself, then I will have to restrict how you deal with me. I will have to restrict the time that I put into you. I will have to restrict the way that I speak with you now because you've crossed the boundary. But if you haven't, ladies and gentlemen, established healthy boundaries for yourself, then people will continue to do just that. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you. Okay, so understand, ladies and gentlemen, you have to establish those healthy boundaries within yourself so that you can allow people to not cross over those boundaries, and if they do, then you put your restrictions out there for yourself. Okay, letting your light shine wherever it may be. And just understand, ladies and gentlemen, in this process of healing and self-healing, that you begin it and you end it. It should not stop whether you're in your home, in the studio, at work, at church, in the community. Your light should continue to shine because that's a part of who you are. Don't dim your light to satisfy others. And for too many years, that's what has happened to me. I dimmed my light to allow others to be who they needed to be for them. And when it was time for me to get the spotlight, there was nobody holding the camera for me but me. So understand, ladies and gentlemen, that in this process of self-healing, developing your self-worth, changing the narrative from damage to not damaged, you have to let your light shine no matter what it be. It's going to be good, bad, or indifferent, but it's your light that you choose to hold for yourself. And not allowing people to come in and dampen or dim your light, because you have to let your light shine brightly no matter what. Understand in this journey, ladies and gentlemen, that your light is your light, and you do what you need to do to make you happy. Okay? So now from L to M, we're talking about movement. I'm gonna be very honest with you, ladies and gentlemen. When it comes down to movement, God has given all of us the ability to move. Some people move with dance. Some people move with physical exercise. Some people just move. I was born without rhythm. So my movement has to be counted by step 1, hop, hop, jump, skip. That's me. It has to have a direction in my movement. And that's just it. But in this self-healing journey, you have to be moving about mentally, physically, moving in directions that you may like or you may not like. Now, I'm limited with my physical movement now because, again, ladies and gentlemen, I'm healing from back surgery. So I'm limited, and I do have my apparatus on right now, and I keep that on so that I can move about every day, or, just do simple things like make the bed or sweep the floor stuff. I have that on because it helps my body move. But when I am able to go my physical therapy and do light duties, I will begin to change the way that I move and hope that I go to a structured class that's going to teach me how to move correctly, like a salsa or a a line dance class or aerobic, anything like that that's going to help me, because again, I was born without rhythm. I don't know about you. My nationality is what it is, and they say we all have that rhythm. Not me. I try. and people know that I'm allergic to exercise, and I'm also allergic. I was born with no rhythm. So I was just born that way. So another part of self-healing is being able to move as much in your life as possible that's going to get you to the next levels in your life, to move forward and to be happy. I wish that I can connect what I feel on the inside to some form of a movement. I wish that I could do that freely without, saying to myself, you look stupid, that kind of stuff. I wish that I could move in a way physically that aligned was on the inside that can exude on the outside of me. I wish that I had that type of rhythm to do so. But not only the physical part of movement is moving past your past, it goes that way as well. Anything that's a hindrance for you, anything that's holding you back from moving from this point to the next point, learning how to do that, ladies and gentlemen. Developing what it is in your mind, body, and soul that can create some type of a movement. What is it about you that's going to be able to change that part of you? If movement, not only in physical movement, but moving past your past and moving from one step in your life to another step or another level in your life to the next level in your life, what do you need to get that going? Continuously moving around in what it is that you're attempting to change in your life that's going to promote self-love, self-care, self-worth, self-value. What is it about you that you're going to change? Okay? Moving past your past. Okay? So now we're at N, and that means to nurture your nature. Nurture your nature. Huh. We know, ladies and gentlemen, that women are natural nurturers. We were born to nurture the land, to nurture being who we are, to develop the care to provide for your children if you are a mother, or if you're a mother. Nurturing the ideas that you have within inside of yourself, and understand that when you get something such as change and you want to do something better in your life, then you know you have to nurture what was taught and develop something different if it does not work in this change that's happening for you. A lot of times, ladies and gentlemen, speaking from the IS is as well, nurturing old habits of neglect, abuse, trauma, things of that nature. When you're making a change to develop in your self-love and your self-healing and your self-worth and your self-value, you know that you have to change the direction of how you feel about those things. Now, I have to premise this a lot by saying, when you nurture who you are, you have to go back into that inner child, to that space where you were lost. For some, it could have been through trauma. For some, it could have been through abuse and neglect at home with your family or anything like that. It could have been being too responsible at a young age, and not having a lot of responsibility at a young age, not knowing how to do certain things. So I speak about this part a lot, going back into the inner child and where the hurt came from. The hurt came from somewhere. The trauma came from somewhere. The stagnation came from somewhere. But where? So we go back to those principles, those foundational pieces in your life, in your childhood, where you were raised in a home that was filled with love, or filled with, joy, happiness, peace. You were lived in a household that was abusive, that was loud, that was out of the ordinary, you were afraid to be in the house that you were in. So that's trauma. So when you go back to nurturing you go back to that space. You go back to that space. I can remember. It's two spaces in my life that I can go back to, but I'm just going to go back to one. I remember my brother, God rest his soul, told me that water came from the toilet. And when you take a bath or a shower, you wash your face, you washing your face with toilet water. In my head, back then, it was nasty. Nasty. I had to watch the steam of the water come up for me to know that it was clean. That specific trauma followed me through my life, which allowed me to develop germophobia. I know that specifically. I know that. Bleaching, uh, gloves before COVID, mask before COVID, gloves, all of that stuff before COVID because of what happened to me when I was a little girl from what my brother said to me. That part. It led me to spaces in my life that I had to nurture myself again. I had to reparent that part of myself again to know that as a germaphobe in recovery, that in order for me to go to work, to school, to take care of my children, to do anything, I had to get past my past in order for me to move forward. It was a journey. It was a journey, but it was my journey that I had to take in order for me to be successful in my life. Because if I allowed that traumatic experience to keep me there, I would still be stuck today. So I had to learn how to do things differently. Now, if I see a footprint on my floor, I get I go back to those spaces and it does something to me. So footprints and handprints does something to me even today. So I'm very careful, but I had to nurture myself and reparent myself to think differently. So repositioning how I feel about certain things, repositioning how I see things in order for me to go forward. I had to reprocess, reparent, rethink, restructure, all of those things in order for me to get past my past traumatic experience, which led me into germophobia. So now that I'm in recovery from it, it's an ongoing basis. Like I said, if I see a footprint, if I see a fingerprint, it can trigger me. So I know my spaces. I teach my sons about fingerprints and footprints. It was hard to do because they didn't understand it. But I share with them later on, like what my brother did to me that caused that traumatic experience. But it was a shared experience that I had to let them know about footprints and fingerprints and why I don't wear shoes in my house because I know what that does for me. So that's the kind of stuff that I had to go through to nurture myself into a better space so I can live and function. Now, other people may not appreciate that, but that's my story. That's my narrative. That's my life. And that's what I had to change in order for me to get to the next level in my process of healing. Because if I did not, then I would be stuck. So a lot of times, ladies and gentlemen, if you can't get past those situations in your life, then you will stay in situations such as that and not allow yourself to move forward. I truly do apologize. Let me just try to find my. Let me try to find my. I truly do apologize. and trying to find. Where are you? trying to figure it out, ladies and gentlemen. Still trying to figure it out. I apologize. And still trying to figure out or navigate how to nurture myself and to live my life without having these specific issues. Okay. Okay, I hope you guys can see me. I'm sorry. And so getting an opportunity to live the life changed. And in my space for myself, there was a lot of things that had to change in order for me to be successful. And changing my mindset was one of those things. And I, again, apologize for the trouble that I am having with with my lighting and with my phone. You know, when you're trying to do something that's a productive, everything seems to come in your way. So I'm trying to do things productively without having to go to the other space. My lighting is so off today. I'm so sorry. My lighting is so off today. Maybe that might help. I'm so sorry. So, and going back to what we talked about again today, we talked about H, which is happy thoughts. Intuition is I. Joy is J. Knowing your narrative is K. L is light. M is movement. And N is nurture your nature. And then changing the nature of you, that means that you have to change how you see yourself in this new space of self-love, self-care, self-worth, self-understanding, self-determination, self-healing in this journey. Because if you don't understand what that journey is like, then nobody else will. So O is to open up your heart. Open up your heart to receive whatever it is that's going to be joyous and abundance in your life. Understand that this process of changing and self-love means that you have to open your heart to different things. And in this journey, ladies and gentlemen, opening your heart is not only beneficial for you, but for those around you. Because if you are in a healing moment from relationship with a partner, a spouse, a divorce, or anything of that nature, ladies and gentlemen, you might be brokenhearted. You might still be trying to get through what you're going through to get through that pain and letting go of that heartbreak. Heartbreak can hold you back from your moving forward. If you haven't forgiven yourself for being in situations that was not satisfying to you, you might close your heart. You might not be able to receive love. Now, another piece of opening your heart, ladies and gentlemen, can be opening your heart to your higher power. And mine is God. Making sure that I'm able to have this openness about me to receive whatever it is that I need to receive for myself to move forward. Opening the idea that I am healing, ongoing, is active. I'm putting in the work to heal. And then be open to connect with someone or others again. A lot of times, ladies and gentlemen, when you're brokenhearted and your heart was broken and in relationship, we kind of get bitter. I'm not bitter. We kind of get sad about it. In the beginning I was, but now I'm healing. Understand, ladies and gentlemen, you have to open your heart to do better, be receptive to positivity. Because if you are a person who has been stuck in negative situations and nothing positive has been poured into you, then you continue to do the same thing and hear, even when someone is being genuinely sincere in their output of love towards you. I did not know what that felt like to have supportive people in my life until now, when I had my back surgery. I have never received care and concern from my pastor, my pastors, my church members, my deacons, were very supportive. And I never had that before, where I'm in the hospital and I'm just like, oh my God, how am I going to do A, B, C, and D for my children? And these women just came and provided me with that support. And when I tell you that I'm in the hospital, they came to my home, they called my children. They were just so loving. But if my heart was closed to that, then I wouldn't have been able to receive it. And that's only because when you're healing, you can now see yourself differently, where you can appreciate the fact that people want to help you, where people want to give support or lend support, where people are just saying, if you need anything, whether it's a stick of butter to getting your mortgage paid, anything, call me. I never had that before, where it was genuinely like that. So outside of my understoods, but outside of that, I never had that before. I never had a bunch of grown women who said, I got your back, besides my best friends, and those are my understoods, right? So if my heart was closed to receiving, then I would have missed my blessing. And that's the key point to all. When you're healing and going through this healing process, you have to make sure that your heart is open to receive love, care, concern, opportunity to be blessed. I never ask or open my mouth because I'm so used to people saying no. That's not my mother. I'm so used to people saying no. I'm not used to people saying yes to me. So they say yes, and that took a lot for me to do, because I never had it before like that as an adult. Okay? Open your heart, ladies and gentlemen, for the blessings that are going to be coming for you in your self-love. This journey of self-love, self-worth. Open your heart to understand that you may come across a person that's willing to give whatever it is that you need. Not just money, but time and appreciation. Don't hold on to your past hurts that will stop your heart from being open. Allow yourself to be loved and cared for by others. And I hope, ladies and gentlemen, that you would give yourself grace to understand that people are not out to just do negative things to you all the time. I had to learn that myself, because there are people out there that genuinely love and care about you. So please understand that. So open your heart. Okay. And when we talk about P, which is progress over perfection. Progress, ladies and gentlemen. Giving yourself an opportunity to plan what it is that you need to change for yourself. Plan it out. Give yourself 3 minutes, 3 hours, 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years. Make a plan. And when you give yourself an opportunity to make a plan, and the progress or the progression of what that plan is, you have to make sure that you are giving yourself time to allow it to be. Again, you did not get in this brokenness or this lack space of love for yourself overnight. So it's not going to happen overnight. It's step by step, second by second, minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day, month by month, well, week by week, month by month, year by year. So you have to give yourself grace. Give yourself an opportunity to set those small goals and to be able to execute them accordingly. Understand, ladies and gentlemen, that the progress of self, it was not developed the way that you are before this change happened. It didn't happen overnight. There was circumstances, situations that got you to this point. So in order for you to have progress, you must measure short spurts of time, 3 seconds, 3 minutes, 3 hours, 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years, that part. And then properly plan how to execute your plan. Setting small goals that's going to assist. Smart goals. Understand, ladies and gentlemen, it's all about the progression that you make and the changes that you want in your self-love and your self-love journey, your healing journey, your self-validation journey. It's progression, not perfection. Yes. Give yourself grace, ladies and gentlemen. And then, ladies and gentlemen, you have to now go to the Q aspect of it, is question the negativity. You know, if any time that there's a change in your life, you have to do a pros and cons about it. A pros. What is the benefit that I'm going to get out of making a change in myself to heal? What is the con of me making, the changes in my life to heal? Give me a second. I got to do my puzzle. Good. I did it on the first try this time. So what is it about myself that I have to question the negative or aspects of it? Question it. Is this coming from God? Is this coming from man? Is this him, meaning God, giving you this nudge to say, go this way? And then someone else is telling you to go another way. Doing the checks and balances of what this is for you. Because you know, ladies and gentlemen, when you begin to change this person that you are becoming, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming into my live, Maxine. Thank you so much. When you make the conscious decision to make changes in your life, that means that there's going to come some obstacles that's going to be a part of it as well. We know, ladies and gentlemen, once we put it out into the universe, we can't take it back. So if you've made a conscious decision to say that I'm going to make a healthy change in my life, then make that healthy change in your life. And once you put it out there, ladies and gentlemen, don't take it back from yourself, because you're the only person that's going to get hurt by it. Once you put it out there and you tell somebody else, like I have accountability partners and my friends and my and the group I am at church, you know, I hold myself accountable to my acts. And if I say I'm going to do something and I don't do it, then you need to check me. That's a part of questioning negativity, or the validation of me moving forward in this change process. Holding me accountable for that. Accepting, ladies and gentlemen, my shortcomings, because I do have shortcomings, because I'm a procrastinator. I'm supposed to be doing homework right now. But because I wanted to hurry up and get this, topic off, I just had to finish it. Because for the next 4 days, I have a research paper that I have to do. And I'm not going to have time to do this. So I want to do this today, so I won't forget it, moving forward. Because my head is going to be down for the next 4 days because I got a research paper to do. Okay? So I just want to make sure that I get this out. So make sure that you're questioning the negativity that come about once you make the decision to do the self-work or the work for yourself. Okay? And then R, that means that you have to rest. Rest is so important in this process of healing from my physical body and healing from my past. I did not give myself a chance to rest. I was surviving off of 6 hours of sleep, knowing that I have a demanding job, and knowing that I'm in school, and knowing that I'm, had things to do. I didn't give myself enough time to rest. And not for nothing, ladies and gentlemen, when I was at my breaking point, when my body would not just, get better. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for coming in, ladies and gentlemen. If you wouldn't mind, just go ahead and tap this screen for me. I was given rest. It started off with I went in for a procedure before my operation that did not go well. And I ended up in the hospital for 5 days. And in those 5 days, I got the rest that was necessary. My mind was shut off because I had to heal. And my goal was not to raise my blood pressure. That was my goal. Because if you ladies and gentlemen don't know, and this has always been a thing of mine, thank you, John, for joining, that your blood pressure is associated with what you think. So if you are panicking and you're panicking and you're angry and you're anxious about certain, your blood pressure rises. So my goal in the 5 days being in the hospital was, 1, to get rid of the pain that I was going through, but 2, not to allow my blood pressure to get high, because that would keep you in the hospital more and more. And I didn't want that, because like I said, I went in unexpectedly and we wasn't prepared. We thought I was going to be okay, but I wasn't. So understand, if I let myself think that, oh my God, this and that, my blood pressure was going to elevate, and it didn't. What happened was I allowed myself to be at peace because I knew that I couldn't control the situation. So I allowed myself to just be at peace. Peace at mind, peace at soul, peace at spirit. I had people praying for me and me praying for myself. I had people taking care of my responsibilities, and I said it out loud, and it just happened. But for me, I allowed myself to just rest. At the time that I went into the hospital, I was not off. I was not off from work yet. So it was a 2 week period before I came out the hospital, before I had my surgery. So I still had to work. So in that time, it was like, prioritize. I worked from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., 12-hour days straight, because I knew I was going to be off for a certain period of time, and I didn't want no one else to be stuck with my work. And I didn't want to have a lot of work to come back to as well. So when it was time for me to shut off, I shut off. Closed that computer, tucked it away. They came and picked up my work phones, tucked that away, and I was at peace because I knew that I was going to be okay. At this time, I had my son helping me. My son who's here with me. Well, both of my sons are with me, but this is the one who was my caregiver. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Walking me back and forth to the bathroom. Making sure that I had water. Something to drink. I aggravated my son so bad. And right now, I just talked to him yesterday. I said, boy, I got one and a half more weeks with you. What you going to do? I said, you going to miss me? And he didn't say nothing. I said, boy, you going to miss me when I go back to work? He was like, yeah, Mama, miss you. No, he not. He happy I'm going back to work because I aggravated him so. But that's a part of, getting rest and being able to spend that quality time with my sons and just being okay. I know for a fact that if and when I get older, I won't have to go into a home because that child going to take care of me. Now the youngest one, he put me in a home because he don't have the patience for me. I share that all the time, but make sure, ladies and gentlemen, that you're getting rest 7 to 8 hours tops. Good rest. And then S is to surrender. Surrender to your past. Throw your hands up and say that I surrender, Lord. Whatever it is that you will have me do, Lord, I'm under your care and concern, Father. I know that you have my best interests at heart. I know that I cannot fail going or following your direction. I can't fail because I surrender myself to him, God. A lot of times, ladies and gentlemen, you have to throw your hands up and say, hey, I can't do it. I tried it my way. Now I have to try it his way. And when you're trying it his way, just let it go. Just let it go, because once you give it to the Lord, you can't pick it back up. And in my past, I used to do that. Oh Lord, I desire to do this, and I know I'm just going to wait on you. I have problems with immediate gratification because I gave it to the Lord, but then I start to do the stuff for myself. I know what I want. I said I want it, but now I'm going to go out here and I'm going to search and seek for myself. That's not how it works. When you surrender to God, it's in his hands. Okay? You can't take it back from him. Now, just note, ladies and gentlemen, there's going to be a delay if you decide that you're going to give it to him and then take it back from him. Understand, ladies and gentlemen, when you surrender, you surrender. You don't pick it back up. You just let it be what it's going to be because God is in control. Okay? He knows the desires of your heart. And he gave us the plan. The plan. He gave it to us in the Bible. So understand, ladies and gentlemen, when you surrender wholeheartedly, you surrender. Not just on Sundays. You surrender and you give it to God. And he's not going to steer you in the wrong direction, ladies and gentlemen, because your trust is in him. Acknowledging him and saying that I did it for this long period of time, 54 years, my way, Lord. I'm giving it to you. And I will abide. I will trust. Even if I don't understand, God, I know you have me. Okay? When man don't have, I know God does. Understand, ladies and gentlemen, that surrendering, that means that you give it all to him. And if you don't, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to find yourself back in the same situation, stuck in suffering. If you don't allow yourself to get under God's grace and his mercy and his protection, no matter who you are and what you've done in your life, once you surrender and you repent and you ask for his forgiveness, it's in the sea of forgiveness. Okay? You've given it to him. You said to him that I give it all to you. You said to him, hallelujah, that I am no longer this person that's going off of what I do. It's all up to you, Father. All what you'll have me do. All what you had me placed in my purpose, filled duty to do is yours. And that's the surrender aspect of what you have to do with self-love. And give it up. And give it to your higher power. Give it up and allow him to direct your path. And it's up to you to just follow. Now understand, ladies and gentlemen, following his direction, his lead is in the Bible. The directions that's necessary for eternal life is in the Bible. Knowing who he is, knowing whose I am, the surrender aspect was just easier. I surrender because I can't do it on my own anymore. I can't live this life the way that I was because I took the focus off of you, Father, and I put it on a man. I took the focus off of what I'm supposed to do and my calling and focused on everything else but God. So when I surrender in self-love, I surrender for my peace at mind, my peace at heart, my peace at soul, because I know that I'm resting in God's love, his care, and his concern. A lot of times, ladies and gentlemen, that when you're living life on life's terms without surrender, then that means that you're living on your terms and you're doing the things that you want to make yourself happy. And for some, it could be a joyous momentum. It could be something, $1 million or $5,000 in the bank. But when you put God first, you can have those things. But if you have $1 million or $5 in your bank account and you're still unhappy, what is the sense? You did not